All right. Buccaneers, Raiders. Also, if there's a market out, it means that I'll be shooting an MLB video, in about 3.5 hours at 2 a.m. with Noli knows. Buccaneers, Raiders. Tampa Bay opening up -3. There are 2.5s on the board. If you still want the 3, you get it at plus money. Raiders total here, Raiders, Bucks, total opens at 54. It's down to 53.5 or 53. The 4-2 Bucks at the 3-2 Raiders. Buccaneers coming off very impressive 38-10 win over the Packers. Packers were averaging 445.5 yards, 38 points per game. The Buccaneers' number 1 ranked defense put a stop to that. Also, no penalties, no turnovers, no sacks allowed. That's what's going to put up W's. Packers rushed for 94 yards, and that ended Tampa's streak of 3 straight games holding opponents under 50 on the ground. Under 50. They still have a stretch of not allowing 100 yards rushing for 12 consecutive games. Tampa leads the league in rushing defense, allowing just 64.3 per game. That's down from 73.8 a year ago. So this isn't a new thing. They've always had the last 2 years they've had a strong rushing defense. What's new is the total defense. They lead at 282 yards per game. Ronald Jones has 3 straight 100-yard rushing games, 23 carries, 113 yards, 2 touchdowns versus the Packers. Brady goes 17-27 for 166 yards, 2 TDs, 0 picks. Gronk catches 5 passes for 78 yards, and they got over the loss of Vita Vea. They picked up on Sunday Steve McClendon from the Jets. So as soon as that game was over in Miami, they picked up McClendon. Fournette being inactive 2 of the last 3 games. He's questionable with the ankle injury. And then they have defensive tackle Khalil Davis is also questionable. But other than the Vita Vea loss, this is a healthy squad, the Buccaneers. Going up against the Raiders fresh off their bye week. This is a tricky game. We last saw them defeating the Super Bowl champs 40-32. And interesting, with so many moving parts here. Carr goes 3 of 4 on passes that went at least 20 yards downfield in the first half alone, for 177 yards and 2 TDs. 72-yard pass to Henry Ruggs, 59-yard pass to Aguilar. That's the first time since 1966 the Raiders scored on 2 TD passes of at least 50 yards in the same game. That was more yards on deep throws in one half than Carr had in any game over the past 5 years. Carr 22 of 31 for 347 yards, 3 TDs, and a pick. Jacobs runs 23 times for 77 yards and 2 TDs. Ruggs, 2 catches for 118 yards. And Carr, another big part. So Carr's beating you deep down the field. He's also beating you on third downs. On third down, he gained 203 of his 347 yards. That is extremely impressive. And then you'd think that their defense got eaten up by allowing 32 points to the Chiefs, but they were down 21-10. They allowed 3 TDs on 3 straight drives, down 21-10. And then on the next 6 Kansas City possessions, the Raiders forced 4 punts, 1 interception, and allowed a field goal, turning an 11-point deficit into a 16-point lead. The Chiefs averaged 3.42 yards per play during that stretch. Mahomes was held to a 33.1 rating. And Gruden hopes to have incognito, wide receiver Bryan Edwards, defensive tackle Malik Collins all back after the bye. This is tricky, Bebsy. Can you shine some light on it?
I mean, I'm hearing what you're saying. I'm reading the chat. I don't think anybody has a play on this game. I certainly don't. There are things that I love and hate about both of these teams. There are things I'm completely unsure of about both of these teams. Was the KC game an anomaly? Was the stomping of Green Bay by Tampa last week, was that did that have anything to do with Green Bay's momentum being stopped? I really, as good and as bad as these teams have played, I have such a difficult time trying to decide which one I like and which one I don't. I mean, there's certain parts of both teams that I like, but there is no way I can give you a definitive answer on even which way I'm leaning, because that changes by the hour with this. Look, Gronk came alive last week, but that guy is Frankenstein at this stage. He runs like a Clydesdale that has bullets in both its knees. Like, he just looks, I don't know how the guy's still moving out there at all, and I don't think he can do that 2 weeks in a row. I don't don't think that Gruden has put together a great game plan with the extra week off, just because I don't know how much I think Gruden's a great coach in this day and age. Do I think that maybe because he's playing Tampa, he's going to be a little more pumped up? Maybe, but there's nobody left in that organization anymore. There's nothing enticing for me about this. I couldn't tell you which way I leaned. Even if you put a gun to my head, I'd be like, I don't know, flip a coin and see if I die. I don't like this. It's a big stay away from me.
Huh. What do you think of Birdie? Laughs. Says Gruden 0-2 off buys with the Raiders, coming off a career win for Carr in the Raider organization last 15 years. No practices last week. Love the Bucs here. Let the line drop.
Okay, but 0-2 off buys with the Raiders. It's not like he's 0-7. It's not like he's 1-5 even. It's 2 games off a team that he's obviously built from scratch. So that's a stat I don't care about at all. That doesn't impress me. The biggest angle I can try and find here, and this is a reach, is Josh Jacobs running the ball against a Bucs defense without Vita Vea. That to me is like, okay, maybe they can exploit the ground game, keep the ball away from Tampa's offense. But again, I don't even know if I believe myself saying that. Like, there's no play here for me. These teams have been very difficult to bet on. I said at the start of the year I like the Raiders. I like their offense, but then against the Chiefs, their defense shone. So who knows? This is a coin flip. Flip coin. I'll be stunned if it's a blowout. I'll put it to you that way.
This is tricky, man. But if I had a free bet, and someone said, "Here, give $500, just make a bet," I probably do take the Bucs, but hesitant. Nothing for me yet. Birdie says, faded the Packs versus Tampa because they were heading into the bye happy. Easy fade on the Raiders this week. I kind of like it. I'm leaning towards these Buccaneers. Again, we have our Sunday kickoff show. And, Bebsy and I can make plays official throughout the week on Twitter. So follow us both at Jimmy the Bag and at Rob_Bebenek. Alrighty. Quickly, Bebsy, the total opened up at 54. It's dropped to 53 now for 53. Any move for you there?
No, same thing. I really don't know what to make of this. I do think both teams are capable of putting up points. I think, if anything, Tampa's offense will exploit a shaky Vegas defense. But I think Vegas's offense is very talented, so I think they can put up points as well. So if anything, I lean over, but I think this total is set right around where it needs to be. So again, that bet's another crapshoot.
Yeah. I lean towards the Bucs. I'm gonna have to have a conversation with Birdie, because after my conversation with Birdie last week, so I had only 3 bets, going into last week, or 3 bets after our show. And then with Birdie, after talking to Birdie, I added Lions -3, Falcons +4, Colts -7.5, Broncos +10. That was 3-1. And then I told him I was just about to add the Texans and the Bucs. I hadn't added them yet, but looks like I'll need another chat with my man Birdie.
Dennis Garcia is making an interesting point. Tampa played their best game ever. No turnovers, no penalties, no sacks allowed. They won't play as well this week. To further that point, coming into this, and I think actually still, even after getting no penalties last week, Tampa is still the most penalized team in the NFL this season, despite having 0 penalties last week. So, yeah, they're not going to do that again. They're not going to do that 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah. Index is getting me. Index is getting me with his Pepsi doesn't want to talk weather reports. That's going to get me for a while for some reason. All righty.
I'm not interested in long-range weather forecasts.
Or calling Brady the GOAT.
Well, he's not even top 5.
Just sets him off.